If you ever wondered when to use tú, vos, usted, ustedes, vosotros, or wondered where they come from, in which parts of the world they're used, then this video is for you. I'm going to guide you through each of these pronouns and I'm going to tell you when they're used and where they are used. Like in many languages, Spanish has a way to show respect and courtesy to someone that you're addressing to. And then there's another way to show familiarity and confidence and friendship. So it all started back in the medieval ages when they felt the need for this kind of pronoun to show respect to the king, or if you were a servant, to the person that you were serving, the noble, or even to older members of your family. So they started using vos, which before was just the plural form of tú. So it was like you guys, but they started using it to show respect and courtesy. But with time, like 100 years after, vos lost its meaning because it started being overused and it started to be used within equals. So it lost its way of showing respect. It was just more another way of saying tú. So Spanish speakers started inventing or creating or using new ways of showing this respect and courtesy that they saw that they needed. So they started using, amongst other things, they started saying vuestra merced, and this is the one that ended up evolving into usted. With all this context, the Spanish colonization was happening, so Spanish people were traveling a lot to South America and they were taking the language with them. And different parts of South America took these pronouns differently and they adapted to these pronouns differently. In countries like Argentina and Uruguay, they took this vos that was already used for informal within equals. And so vos became the go-to way to refer to the person you're talking with in an informal way. And then if they wanted to use a more formal version, then they said usted. Meanwhile, back in Spain, because they took this vos that was used for you guys and they started using it for, courtesy and respect for one person, then they needed something to refer to you guys, to more than one person. So what they did was they added this otros suffix after vos, as in like you and the others, vos otros, and so problem solved. So that's why in Spanish we say vosotros, vosotros tenéis, vosotros sois. But this didn't really stick with the speakers in South America and some parts of the south of Spain and the Canary Islands, and they stuck to ustedes and easier. So in these places, in South America and Canary Islands, some places of the south of Spain, the ustedes is both to show respect and courtesy in like a formal way and then also in an informal way. So they will always say ustedes tienen, ustedes son. Okay, so let's see a little cheat sheet that I prepared to see when and where you have to use tú or vos and usted. You can download the PDF of this cheat sheet and there are also notes and specifications of specific places. So here I'm just going to do a little summary. So let's start with tú and vos, which are both for informal settings. And that doesn't mean that it's degrading, it's like within equals. So if you're speaking with your friends, with your family, with your colleagues, depending on your colleagues, and anyone who you have treated before and you find that you have this confidence to speak with, then you use tú or vos. Tú or vos depending on where you are, but I'm gonna speak about that later. Then you have the option of using usted when you want to show respect or courtesy. For example, it's really used when you are at the restaurant and you're speaking with a waiter or waitress or anyone who's serving you, or at a hotel or somewhere where you don't know the person and you feel like you should be showing respect. If you're in doubt, just use usted. That's a polite way, that's the safe way. And if the person who you said usted to doesn't feel the need, then they will tell you, puedes tutearme o puedes tratarme de tú. So to recap, we have tú and vos for informal settings, and we have usted for formal settings. In some regions, they say tú, and that's called tuteo, and they say tú tienes, tú eres. And then in some other regions, they use vos, which is called Voseo, and they say vos sos, vos tenés. Now, if you don't know where, in which countries specifically you say tú or vos, then you can, again, download that printable where I have all of them based on my research. I haven't been in the places, and, language is alive and it changes. And so if any of you know that, has been there and has seen that they don't use vos, they use tú, or the other way around, let me know, because I'm interested in knowing. But I'm going to read out a couple of places where they use tú always. And that's in the most part of Mexico, except Chiapas and other southern parts. Cuba, Peru, Chile, República Dominicana, Puerto Rico, most part of Colombia, Spain as well, Venezuela, the coast of Ecuador, and so on. And then places where they use vos, most of the time. It's Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay, eastern Bolivia, and then a small part of Colombia as well, the highlands of Ecuador and Central America in general. But in some of these places, they alternate with tú and with vos to add like another level of formality with the tú. We use usted everywhere, so in Spain, Mexico, Peru, all these places, usted exists, and it's used in formal settings, and the way to conjugate it is usted tiene, usted es. So it's like the third person. But then ustedes in Spain is the formal version of you guys in a formal context, but ustedes, it's you guys in formal and informal in the whole South America and the Canary Islands and the south of Spain, places of the south of Spain, because in the majority of Spain we say vosotros. And the way they work, the way they are conjugated is ustedes tienen, ustedes son, and then vosotros sois, vosotros tenéis. Okay, so all this being said, this is a guide for you to have an idea of how this has been evolving, of what maybe to use to start with. But my recommendation is always that whoever you are speaking with and whoever you want to treat and to address to, see what they do, see what they prefer, and just learn as you go with the people. And like with everything else, there is no such thing as a correct way of saying something, because as we've seen, the correct way is whatever the community or people that you want to speak with is using at that specific moment. And if you want to dig deeper into, etymology and where words come from and language history, check my newsletter. You can subscribe with the link in the description, and also check my blog for the previous issues that have already been sent. And if you like the video and you want to support me, you know what to do. And I'll see you in the next video. Ciao!